Hey Ryan, the farewell party is today, right? Yeah, no doubt, but department head Ryan said with a dramatic pause. Everyone's going to skip it. The restaurant you booked might even go out of business. Haha. It was, in a way, my last chance. I replied coolly to Ryan, who was laughing merrily. The reservation was at the CEO's family place. What? My name is Hank, 42 years old. After graduating from an engineering college, I've been working for about 20 years. Originally a renowned company, our firm has grown into a large corporation known worldwide. It started as a small factory making screws, but now it includes apparel and financial markets, forming a major corporation with many subsidiaries. As an employee of one such subsidiary, I was recently assigned to a newly established daughter company. Although related, this company dealt in very different products. Our main company specializes in IT and information systems. So, it's common to be sent to less experienced companies to share expertise. People in this field often tend to be quirky or not great with social interactions. They prefer to immerse themselves in their work, which I totally get. I'd rather do the same. However, being sociable and outgoing, I often get sent on these assignments, leading to many acquaintances in various companies. Consequently, I've gained experience in conducting training sessions, to the point where people say, if it's an assignment, leave it to Hank. Not that I joined a company for this. Still, with no one else eager to take these roles, and the company paying extra for these assignments, I've accepted this as my current situation. So, naturally, I was chosen for this latest assignment. The daughter company I was assigned to had been launched amidst great expectations. New encounters at the assignment locations are surprisingly enjoyable, and I headed to the company with high expectations. The company was housed in a beautiful, recently completed building. After all, it's a magnificent building that was just completed a few years ago. At the reception, I submitted the necessary documents and was directed to the department I would be joining. That department is the Information Systems Division. It's responsible for internal security and networking within the company. My purpose for being assigned here is to teach the essential skills needed for this newly established division, to help set up the systems, and to facilitate connections with various branches. Nice to meet you, I'm Hank, assigned here for a while, looking forward to working with you. To my greeting, the employees, without a clap, stared back with somewhat disinterested eyes. It's fairly common for assigned employees to be unwelcome, so I don't take it to heart. No point in worrying too much about it. I kept a smile on my face, unfazed by the atmosphere. A smile is the best tactic in social situations. Nice to meet you too, I'm the department head, Ryan. The man who introduced himself as Ryan spoke with an arrogant tone. I had heard that this company was staffed entirely with elites from prestigious universities, so they all had high egos. He must be one of them. I hope there's something we can learn from you, but well, let's see how it goes for a while. His words, blatantly looking down on me, made me want to sigh deeply. I see. So this is why the optimization of the company's systems has been such a struggle. People like him never listen to others if they believe they are right. This is going to be a difficult job. As expected, the employees of the Information Systems Department at the assignment location wouldn't listen to me at all. They dismissed me from the start, deciding that my methods were inefficient. As a result, the system's construction was only delayed. But the blame was irrationally directed at me. They say you're the expert, yet you can't do even this. It would be better if we did it ourselves. Just leave the necessary software and manuals and get out. That was the underlying message. But after all, I'm here on a job assignment. I can't leave until the assignment period is over. It's a very uncomfortable environment. I knew assignments like this are useless. Ryan grumbled, staring at his computer screen. He must be irritated that the work isn't proceeding as he planned. But that's all because they completely ignore my directions, though he seems unaware of that. They think they're better, after all. The manual I prepared was revised and failed repeatedly, and then blamed for the failures. Fixing these errors was my job, yet they wouldn't let me do anything more. Their pride was just too high. After numerous errors, they still wouldn't admit their fault. No, they probably don't want to. Ryan, among others, must be somewhat aware that their methods are flawed. But they don't want to listen to the suggestions of someone on assignment. If only they would follow the manual, it would be so much easier. As they proceed with the manual, they think of new methods, alter it on their own, fail, and then blame my manual. I was at my wit's end. Eventually, after they left, I secretly returned to the department and proceeded with the work according to the manual. Day by day, as the system was built, they claimed they were right all along, but I had no energy left to point out their mistake. In fact, if I did, they might just destroy what had been built so far. In the end, I continued working secretly, and somehow managed to complete the system construction during my assignment period. And so, my assignment period, filled with one-sided troubles, is about to end in a few days. Despite the problems, my work is done, and that should be fine. As I was thinking this, Ryan approached me. "Hey, thanks for your help. Actually, we're planning a farewell party for you." I see. Ryan seemed unusually cheerful, which felt odd. He was smiling, but it didn't give a good impression. More like there was something scheming behind it. "We're thinking of having a farewell party for the whole company, not just this department." "That's a bit much." "Well, you've really helped our company, and the farewell isn't just for you." "I see, a company-wide farewell party. That makes sense. And so, I'd like you to be the organizer." "What? But why am I, the one being farewelled, organizing the party?" "Am I the organizer?" "Yeah, I think you can handle a farewell party for 100 people, right?" Well, I have some ideas, but why did this happen?" "But if I said no, I can imagine the kind of snide remarks I'd get. Besides, if it's going to be such a large farewell party, there's a place I'd personally like to ask." "Then, I'm counting on you. Make the reservation for 100 people." "Understood. With that size, I think the restaurant will be happy." "Right, haha, I'm looking forward to it." Ryan left with a genuinely happy laugh. After that, I contacted a familiar restaurant and arranged to book the place for the night. Hearing the pleased voice of the restaurant manager on the phone, I thought it was good to be able to help her. A few days later, it was my last day at the assignment, and I left work early to head to the farewell party location. As organizer, it was the right thing to do. At the restaurant, the manager welcomed me, excited about the many people coming. But so far, only you, Hank, have arrived. Usually, a few people come early. Her puzzled look gave me a bad feeling. Just as I took out my phone to check, I received a call. It was Ryan. "Ryan, the farewell party is today, right?" "Yeah, no doubt, but," Ryan said with a dramatic pause, "everyone's going to skip it. The restaurant you booked might even go out of business." Haha. Ryan burst into laughter over the phone. I thought it might be something like this. It was, in a way, my last chance. I replied coolly to Ryan, who was still laughing. The reservation was at the CEO's family place. "What?" He seemed not to understand my words, responding with a dumbfounded voice. "So the restaurant I booked, it's actually the family business of your company's CEO, Mr. Johnson." "What? I didn't know that." Ryan's panicked words cut off as I ended the call. "Oh dear, Did your bad feeling come true? The manager asked with a concerned look. Yeah, seems like it, I replied with a wry smile. While speaking, I called another number. Hey, it's been a while. Looks like I got played, so proceed as planned, please. Laughter, and I thought so, came from the other end of the phone. Hours later, the restaurant was overflowing with guests enough to justify a private event. Wow, the food here is really great. The variety of drinks is amazing too, isn't it? Well-dressed men commented. I'm glad you like it. Please enjoy yourselves. They all responded with joy to my voice. By the way, this place is your family business, isn't it? Yes, indeed. Oh, and I recommend this dish too. Then, can you tell me about this drink? Among the gathered people, as expected, was the CEO of the subsidiary, Mr. Johnson, the restaurant manager's son. In fact, this event turned out to be not so much a farewell party, but rather a celebration of the successful launch of Mr. Johnson's company's information systems division. It was Mr. Johnson who I called, resulting in an impressive guest list including presidents and executives from various branches, and even top executives from the parent company. Opportunities to meet with such influential figures don't come around often. I decided to seize the moment and make my presence known. After all, having a wide network of friendly relationships is always beneficial. Wow, this is an impressive crowd. Well done, Mr. Johnson. You've really helped me out. That should be my line. It seems my department head has caused you trouble. Mr. Johnson sighed deeply. Controlling the employees is challenging. They're proud of their high education, but their performance doesn't match up. Yeah, the atmosphere of looking down on self-made employees was pretty obvious. I'm really sorry about that. I patted Mr. Johnson's shoulder, signaling not to worry. Mr. Johnson and I have known each other since we joined the company. He's my senior and helped me a lot back then. He was the one who recommended an IT-related job to me. I think it suits you, he had said, referring to the newly established subsidiary. In fact, my knowledge came in handy, and I was satisfied with the meaningful work. Our relationship continued, and we even went drinking together after I started moving from one assignment to the next. Being assigned to Mr. Johnson's subsidiary must be some kind of fate. I was looking forward to it, so it's a shame how things turned out. What happens to Ryan next is none of my concern. Today marks the end of my assignment, and I'm returning to my own company. What the heck is going on here? Just then, the door opened with a clank, and Ryan burst in. Spotting me, he stormed over, visibly angry. What did you do? Keep it down, please. We're in front of important people. What are you talking about? Huh? Ryan finally noticed the crowd gathered in the restaurant. His loud, angry voice suddenly became meek. Wait, aren't those presidents from other companies and executives from the head office? Yes, they are. It's an impressive crowd, so please don't make a scene. No, that's not the point. I thought no one would come and you were going to ruin the restaurant. As Ryan whispered frantically, someone patted his shoulder. Turning around slowly, he saw Mr. Johnson standing there with a smile. Hey there, Ryan. Welcome to my family's place. It seems you've caused quite a stir. What's going on? Well, it's all Hank's fault. Hearing Ryan's words, Mr. Johnson turned to me. He says so, but Hank, I actually think you've been a great help. I'm honored. I responded with a smile to Mr. Johnson's words. What in the world? What's happening? It's a celebration of our new division's launch. But I wasn't invited to anything like that. Mr. Johnson laughed heartily at Ryan's words. You say some funny things, Ryan. What do you mean? It was Hank who arranged this celebration. He's on good terms with my mother, the manager of this restaurant. He's efficient and has been a great help. Ryan was just frozen at Mr. Johnson's words. I had heard that you requested the celebration, but since it seemed no one was going to show up, I took it over as a launch party for the new division. That's good. If I hadn't heard in advance, my family's restaurant would have taken a big hit. But you really think it's good? Ryan finally realized the lack of humor in those eyes. Well, I've heard a lot of reports. Since we're here, why don't you share your side of the story over a drink? Mr. Johnson said, putting his hand on Ryan's shoulder. Hey, that's just what Hank has been saying on his own. Is that so? Then, I'll join in to check the facts. Huh? Ryan looked back at me in surprise. Of course, I had no intention of helping him. I planned to take this opportunity to vent about everything he had done. There's a lot I'd like to talk about, I said with a full smile, causing Ryan to grit his teeth. Mr. Johnson, don't believe a word he says. It's all nonsense. Well, let's hear it first and then judge. Saying this, we sat down in a small room, surrounding Ryan. By the way, Hank here is my junior from when we first joined. I was the one who recommended him to our IT subsidiary. I know his capabilities well. Mr. Johnson said, pouring beer into Ryan's glass without losing his smile. Now, let's hear both sides of the story, shall we? Ryan looked at me in panic. Of course, I just smiled back at him, gazing steadily. Of course, I'll tell you everything, without hiding anything, about what I've seen and done. What, you? No, originally, it was our effort that, as Ryan spoke, he began to calm down. Yes, they think they achieved it all on their own. We just took the manual from Hank, but after that, it was all our effort. But you're aware of the constant errors, as reported, right? That's because. Ryan started to make excuses in a panic. The errors kept happening because your manual was. If you followed the manual correctly, it would have been fine. The errors happened because you tried to shortcut and force your way through. Shut up. In the end, it worked out, didn't it? As Ryan raised his voice, I decided to deliver the final blow. It seems you think so, but those errors were corrected by me after everyone left. What? Huh? Ryan was clearly taken aback. He couldn't believe it because he thought they had achieved it all on their own. What are you saying? That was because our method was right. That's not the case, but no one would listen to me, so I had to stay late and secretly fix everything. Lies. As Ryan protested, Mr. Johnson joined in, calmly sipping his drink. Do you really think so? The errors that were there until yesterday were suddenly fixed the next day, and you think it was your achievement? Well, you must have found something strange yourself, didn't you? With those words, Ryan bowed his head. He must have realized it. It was expected. I had told them to contact me if anything happened after I left, expecting they would eventually come to me for help. That was all Ryan seemed to think. Ryan, I believe you're a talented employee. Being able to join our company is proof of that. However, Mr. Johnson said after a moment's thought, but no matter how talented you are, without accompanying experience, it doesn't translate into effective work. And when it comes to the system company, Hank is a professional. At Mr. Johnson's words, Ryan's face grew increasingly pale. I was hoping you all could learn something from Hank's experience. That was my expectation. Ryan began to tremble as Mr. Johnson delivered his final statement. Honestly, I'm disappointed in you. I need to rethink everything about your department. With those words, Ryan completely stopped talking. Now, back at my subsidiary, I was spending my time leisurely at my desk, which I hadn't seen in a while. The banquet hosted by Mr. Johnson was a great success, and I managed to make good connections with the CEO of the parent company and other subsidiary presidents. Of course, I made sure they remembered my face. Before that, I had also met with presidents and directors of the subsidiary I was assigned to, greeted them again, drank with them, and shared various stories. For me, it was a very rewarding gathering. As for Ryan, despite it being a celebration for the Information Systems Department, questions arose about why only the department head showed up. He could hardly answer and disappeared before anyone noticed. Later, I heard from Mr. Johnson that the position of department head had been given to someone else. Ryan was demoted to a regular employee in the Information Systems Department and had to start learning everything from scratch. Well, he didn't seem to have much IT knowledge, and while I felt a bit sorry for him, he's still young. A knockdown or two can be a good experience. Months later, I was assigned to another assignment. The CEO himself, Mr. Thompson, who took a liking to me at the party, called me for it. This time, it's an assignment to the head office. I've heard that there's new equipment there that even I'm not familiar with, so I'm excited to go and see it. Well, the last time was a bit of a mess, but this time it's the head office. There's a lot to look forward to. And so, I start preparing for another assignment again.